Basically, I want to talk about two quite powerful Bible verses, which is the Psalms. Chant a psalmody. There's a song by Steel Pulse called Chant a psalmody. I want to chant a psalmody. So yeah, basically it's the Psalms. And the two important verses are Psalms 1 and Psalms 4. So let's read Psalm 1, the helicopter. So basically, Psalm 1 says, under Book 1, Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the wicked, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the streams of water, that bringeth forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also does not wither, and whosoever he doth shall and whatsoever he does shall prosper. The wicked are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the wicked shall not stand in the judgment, nor the sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked shall perish. So that's the Psalms 1. So number 4 is, so basically we use Psalms for, if you ever want to you pray that particular verse to achieve something in your life or to protect your household from enemies. Like if you've got too many haters in your life, it's a good way to pray that. It's very powerful. So it says here, for the chief musician on the stringed instruments, a psalm of David. Well, he would be doing that. Yeah. Answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness. Thou hast set me at large when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. It's David praying to God. O ye sons of men, how long shall my glory be turned into dishonor? How long will ye love vanity and seek after falsehood? But know that the Lord has set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart up on your bed and be still. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. Many there be that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than they have when their corn and their wine has increased. In peace will I both lay me down and sleep. For thou, Lord, alone makest me dwell in safety. Interesting. Yeah. So he basically would sing it and say these. So chapter 9 is, I will give thanks unto the Lord with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and exult in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies turn back, they stumble and perish as at thy presence, for thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sayest in the throne, judging righteously. Thou hast rebuked the nations. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast blotted out their name forever and ever. The enemy are come to an end. They are desolate forever. And their cries, which thou hast overthrown, their very memorial is perished. But the Lord sitteth as king forever. But he has prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the peoples in uprightness. The Lord also will be a high tower for the oppressed, a high tower in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. For he that maketh inquisition for blood remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the poor. Definitely. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Behold my affliction, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. The nations are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord has made himself known. He has executed judgment. The wicked shall return to Sheol, even all the nations that forgot God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, nor the expectation of the poor perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let no man prevail. Let the nations be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord. Let the nations know themselves to be but men. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. That's good. Psalms is one of those texts. That's really Apocrypha. The Apocrypha. Tote. Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus. How do you pronounce that? And he utterly destroyed the rulers of the Tyrians and all the princes of the Philistines. Also, before the time of his long sleep, he made protestations in the sight of the Lord and his anointed. And the Lord visited Jacob. By his faithfulness he was proved to be a prophet, and by his words he was known to be faithful in vision. Also, when his enemies pressed him round about, he called upon the Lord the Mighty One with the offering of the sucking of lamb. And the Lord thundered from heaven, and with a mighty sound made his voice to be heard. And he utterly destroyed the rulers of Tyrians, that's like Lebanon, Tyre, and all the princes of the Philistines. And after him rose up Nathan to prophesy in the days of David, as is the fat when it is separated from the peace offerings. So was David separated from the children of Israel? So was David separated from the children of Israel? He played with lions as with kids, and with bears. Played with and with bears as with lambs of the flock. Isha. Yeah. Yeah. Where? Oh my God, Eddie. Mlandaza. Oh. All right. See you in a bit. Bye. Okay. So apparently David played with lions as a kid, and he also played with bears. In his youth, did he not slay a giant? Yeah, when he was a kid, and take away reproach from the people. When he lifted up his hand with a sling stone and beat down the boasting of Goliath, for he called upon the Most High Lord, and he gave him strength in his right hand to slay a man mighty in war, to exalt the horn of his peoples. So they'll be going, he won. Yeah. So they glorified him for his 10,000s and praised him for the blessings of the Lord, in that they gave him a diadem of glory, for he destroyed the enemies on every side and brought to naught the Philistines his adversaries. Break the horn in pieces unto his day. In every work of his he gave thanks to the Holy One, Most High, with words of glory. He's always thankful. With his whole heart he sang praise and loved him that made him. Also he set singers before the altar to make sweet melody by their music. He gave comeliness to the feasts and set in order the seasons to perfection, while they praised his holy name, and the sanctuary sounded from early morning. The Lord took away his sins and exalted his horn forever, and gave him a covenant of kings and a throne of glory in Israel. After him rose up a son, a man of understanding. For his sake he dwelt at large. Solomon reigned in days of peace, and to him God gave rest round about, that he might set up a house for his name and prepare a sanctuary forever. How wise wast thou made in thy youth, and filled as a river with understanding. Thy soul covered the earth, and thou fillest with dark parables. Thy name reached upon the isles of afar, and for thy peace thou wast beloved. For they sang songs and proverbs and parables, and for thine interpretations the countries marveled at thee. By the name of the Lord God, which is called God of Israel, thou didst gather gold as tin, and didst multiply silver as lead. Thou didst bow thy loins. Thou didst bow thy loins unto women. He had too many women, Solomon. And in thy body thou wast brought into subjugation. Thou didn't blemish thy honor. Thou didn't blemish thine honor and profane thy seed, to bring wrath upon thy children, and I was grieved for thy folly, so that the sovereignty was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a disobedient kingdom. But the Lord will never forsake his mercy, and he will not destroy any of his works, nor blot out the posterity of his elect. And the seed of him that loved him he will not take away. And he gave a remnant unto Jacob, and unto David a root out of him. And so rested Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people who made, even even the foolishness of the people, and one that lacked understanding, who made the people to revolt by his counsel. Also Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, and gave unto Ephraim a way of sin, and their sins were multiplied exceedingly, to remove them from the land. For they sought out all manner of wickedness, till vengeance should come upon them. Also there arose Elijah the prophet as fire, and his word burned like a torch, who brought a famine upon them, and by his zeal made them few in number. By the word of the Lord he shut up the heaven. Thrice did he thus bring down fire, 3 times basically. And how was thou glorified, O Elijah, in thy wondrous deeds? And who should glory like unto thee? Who did raise up a dead man from death, and from the place of the dead, by the word of the Most High? Who brought down kings to destruction, and honorable men from their bed, who heard rebuke in Sinai, and judgment of vengeance in Horeb, who anointed kings for retribution, and prophets to succeed after him, who was taken up in a tempest of fire, in a chariot of fiery horses, who was recorded for reproofs in their seasons, to pacify anger before it break forth in wrath, to turn the heart of the father unto the son, and to restore the tribes of Jacob. And blessed are they that saw thee, and that they have been beautified with love, for we also shall surely live. Elijah it was who was wrapped in a tempest, and Elisha was filled with the Spirit. And in all his days he was not moved by the fear of any ruler, and no one brought him in subjectation. Nothing was too high for him, and when he was laid on sleep, his body prophesied. As in his life he did wonders, so in death where he works marvelous. For all this the people repented not, and they departed not from their sins, till they were carried away as a spoil from their land, and were scattered through all of the earth. And the people were left very few in number, and ruler was left in the house of David. Some of them did that which was pleasing to God, and some multiplied sins. Hezekiah fortified his city and brought in water into the midst of them. He digged the sheer rock with iron and built up wells for waters. In his days, Sennacherib came up and sent Rabshakeh and departed, and he lifted up his hand against Zion and boasted great things in his arrogancy. Then were their hearts and their hands shaken, and they were in pain as women in travail, and they called upon the Lord, which is merciful, spreading forth their hands unto him. And the Holy One heard him speedily out of heaven, and delivered them by the hand of Isaiah. And he smote the camp of the Assyrians, and his angel utterly destroyed them. For Hezekiah did that which was pleasing to the Lord, and was strong in the ways of David his father, which Isaiah the prophet commanded, who was great and faithful in his vision. In his days the sun went backward. In his days the sun went backward, and he added life to the king. He saw by an excellent spirit what should come to pass at the last, and he comforted them that mourned in Zion. He showed the things that should be at the end of time, and the hidden things or ever they came. No man was created upon the earth such as was Enoch, for he was taken up from the earth. Neither was there a man born like unto Joseph, a governor of his brethren, a stay of the people. Shem and Seth were glorified among men, and above every living thing in the creation is Adam. Zedekiah. The Song of the Three Holy Children. Yeah, this is the three children that fell in the fire, and then the angel Gabriel came to save them during Daniel. I think the icon pictures just like it brings me like memories. Susanna. Susanna. Sosana. 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 Susanna. Bell and Dragon. Manassas. The Maccabees. The Book of Maccabees. Anyways.